night market conversations. This is no computer live streaming. That's right, I'm bringing you the live stream directly from my phone. My computer decided to do a weird, funky thing and die on me. Great, right? Okay, so here we go. Anyway, don't have a guest tonight, and unfortunately, due to this particular technology, I don't have my incredible producer Brady behind the scenes making sure the chat stream's operating and looking great. I'm going to press a button here now. I've never done this live streaming from my phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this little thing here. I want to see chats live. Yes, all there we go. Scorpio, nice to see you. Excellent. So guys, really, really interesting week we're having in crypto, right? The markets are crashing and people are having all kinds of different reasons, right? Some of them very logical, some of them kind of out there a little bit. And the truth of the matter, I don't think any of us really exactly know. Now, some of the things that I've heard are, well, you have Biden's tax plan. Could be possible, right? There could be people who've held large bags of crypto and decided to sell crypto this year as opposed to next year when a potentially almost double capital gains tax would be implemented. All right? That's one possible solution. That's logical. I've heard from other folks, they're attributing this particular drop to leverage in the market. Leverage in the market. Very interesting to pin that as an explanation. Again, I don't think anybody exactly knows. One of the things, though, that I do find really interesting is despite the fact that there are measurable analytics that we can go look at that would speak to we should have a completely different outcome in these markets than we're having right now. Case in point, the number of new wallet creations indicates a steady wave of folks coming in to this space, which would, of course, generally mean new money coming in to these limited supply tokens. There's also scuttlebutt around the street saying that it's manipulation by whales. I don't know much about that. I understand there are mechanisms that can be employed by folks to drive prices down. If you have a lot of Bitcoin, you can do these type of things because what you're doing is if you have, let's say you had 1,000 Bitcoin or 10,000 Bitcoin or 90,000 Bitcoin, I could understand how a nice steady stream into the sales side of the order book and accepting lower and lower prices for your Bitcoin would be a way to drive the price down. All you need is enough Bitcoin to satisfy the demand that's in the market and then add a little extra, bringing the price down. That's all possible. But when I see this market and I'm looking at the market as a whole, I'm seeing the whole damn thing go down, right? The entire market is going down. It's not just Bitcoin. And it's hard for me to believe that there are a small group of individuals called whales that control so many different wallets of so many different tokens that are employing the same mechanism to drive the price down at the same time. So I have a hard time believing it's whales manipulating the market. Again, back to I don't know. This is what I do know. I know the signal in this market is the trend, right? There's a lot of noise in this market, but the real signal is the trend. I'm going to continue to believe in that narrative until it's proven otherwise. What does that mean? That means these are really good buying opportunities. If Bitcoin should continue a downward trajectory into the 40,000s, you can expect at one point there is going to be a bounce off the floor. When that happens, I don't know. Trying to time these markets can be very difficult. But again, I'm not here in the short term, and I believe none of you are either, right? I came to this space knowing that the amount of capital I had to deploy was not going to produce wealth for my retirement. That's just the truth. And I saw an opportunity in crypto, like I believe many of you have, where we could deploy X amount of capital and over a period of time receive a substantial return on investment. Now, what's been interesting along this journey, and I'm sure a lot of you are coming to a lot of the same conclusions, that holding crypto and having it appreciate is one thing. It's really a tax-free type of deal. There's no downside as far as the IRS is concerned. It's when you start getting into scalping. Scalping is a technique in which, let's say you bought a million casino coin for $85 and the price runs up and you sell a couple 100,000, get your original investment back plus a little profit. That is scalping. So scalping incurs there's a tax liability with that, right? In the calendar year that you do it, and depending upon how long you held the asset, it's a short-term or long-term capital gain. Okay, great. I'm not sure what it is in Europe. I'm definitely not sure what it is down here in Latin America. Each country is slightly different with their tax code, but I'm very certain what it is in the United States. So scalping, tax liability. Then you got yield creation, right? Now, one of the things that I absolutely have fell in love with this space is that there have been platforms like Celcius and Nexo and BlockFi, and I'm sure there will be others, that are offering yield on the assets that they support. So you can take your Bitcoin or your XRP and park it on Nexo and earn a yield daily. And with their revamped website, you can lock it up for 30 days and get an extra percentage. And that's really wonderful. However, we must not forget that even though you're earning yield and you may not be selling any of the crypto, at the end of the year, and it's time to file your taxes, don't forget to include the yield that was generated by your assets. Those are taxable. Now, they're not taxable in a short-term or capital gains type perspective. It's under a heading called dividend interest income. And it's important to be cognizant of this. If you're earning yield in crypto through a platform, there's no escaping the IRS. Or at least I will tell you, I know for a fact, Celcius, Nexo, and BlockFi will send 1099s, which means the IRS gets a copy also. Now, there's a lot of tricky stuff going on in crypto, and I can't really speak to it. I don't know the ins and outs. How can a decentralized exchange, for instance, through your Uniswaps and your various yield farming techniques, how can that become a tax liability? Well, if you're honest with the IRS, even though that DEX may not send you a 1099, you have your own personal records. Whether you choose to do that or not is completely up to you. I don't know how advanced the forensic accounting is with the IRS as it pertains to these type of things. But I can imagine in the years to come, they're going to get very sophisticated. So even though you might have got away with it last year or the year before, you might even get away with it this year, there's no guarantee you'll get away with it next year. All right. Now, we also have the Vpners, right? Those folks that are loading up VPNs and using exchanges overseas to conduct trades. Now, if you just enter an email address that you just made up, and that's good enough to get you on an exchange and allow you to exchange this for that, chances are you're not going to get a 1099. But that's not to say it will always be that way. So just keep your head, keep your wits about you, and understand that you're playing a big boys game. This is money. And the IRS is not in business to forego tax collection, if at all, within their legal means. So just beware of that. So one of the things that I wanted to really touch on tonight, and hopefully get some questions from you guys about it, is what do you think about your process, right? Each and every one of us has a process. I'll be honest, my very initial, the initial process that I have was turn on YouTube, find a Jungle Link video, watch it, try to really understand whatever he was delivering at that particular day, whether it be an editorial or comments on this or that, an article he'd reference. I'd go find the article and I'd read it, and I try to really dive in and understand what it was really trying to convey. That was my early process. Tune into Jungle Link and buy XRP. And that was the best process I had in the beginning. And of course it's evolved with my education and the information that's come across my desk and the things that I've learned along the way, and the new sources of information, obviously, that I've found. So one of the things about processes, and I really got to give Nick Black a lot of credit for this. Nick talked about you really don't have a process until it's teachable and repeatable, right? Can I do or help someone else achieve what I've achieved? And the answer is yes and no. It's one of those tricky kind of things, right? It's like, can I help somebody today with $73,000 build a $700,000 portfolio in 7 months? I don't know. I don't know about the timeline. But I can tell you I am very hang on a second. What's your thoughts on the cycle, Jerry? Oh, sell some and hold almost. I'll tell you, here's the thing. I'm going to answer that question, Dakota. Wonderful question. My thoughts on the cycle is we're going to have corrections. We won't have a cycle without corrections. There'll be corrections. So we're in a corrective moment. I honestly believe it's the most advantageous thing to do when you're in a down part of a cycle is to buy. If you're a dollar cost averaging type of person, this is beautiful because you're able to acquire more of the asset today than you were last week, right? And if your process is dollar cost average in, why would you change or stop that, right? This is a wonderful time to be a buyer. Now, selling into down cycles is really a matter of strategy for your process, right? Traders will sell into down cycles and then rebuy when they believe they've hit the bottom. I'm not a trader. I'm an investor. So, the only time that I tend to sell assets is when I believe we're in a good upswing. Okay, I've heard multiple differences, long 2-4 year market or a blow off top type situation. Interesting. Okay, so again, I don't believe anybody has the definitive answer of what's causing this downturn. When all the analytics are telling us new people are coming into the market at pretty staggering rates. I have not seen this data, but I did listen to a wonderful debate with Michael Saylor and a gentleman regarding gold. And one of the statistics Michael Saylor quoted, and this is only like a couple of day old event. This thing just happened a couple days ago. Michael Saylor quoted 3 million new users a week coming into the Bitcoin network. That's 12 million a month. That's a nice flow. That's a nice inflow of folks, right? Especially into a network when we're all hoping for network adoption, right? More people coming onto the network. So with new folks coming onto the network, you would think the price would go up, right? Because they're coming into the network with nothing, which means if they're going to do something on the network, it's generally buy. All right. So with that being said, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Not to mention, oh, sorry, this is an analytic that I forgot to mention. That's really kind of staggering when you think about the current consequences. Okay, and I cannot disprove market manipulation. I can't disprove it. And it actually kind of sounds like, you know what? In a world where you don't have any answers, that answer could be as good as any other answer. You know, when we look at data, right, data, if we do have inflows to that tune of roughly 3 million a week, that's a nice set of inflows, right? 12 million a month, boom, 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 boom. Then you start looking at, well, I'm sure you've all heard this. You've got the coins leaving exchanges going into cold storage, right? That's not a retail phenomenon. The truth of the matter is most new folks coming into the market that are new are not going to go from 0 to 60. In other words, watch a YouTube video, buy a Ledger Nano X, go to Coinbase, buy their coin, and immediately put it on a Ledger Nano X. The most common behavior for a new person coming into this market is to establish their account on an exchange, buy their asset, and hold it on that exchange. So why is more Bitcoin coming off the exchanges into cold wallets? All this is done through, we verified this through block explorers. If that's the case, why, what's going on? Again, I don't know. What I do know is that as an investor, I've developed a process that I believe is not only teachable, but repeatable. Now, obviously, results vary because timelines and when you buy something and all that stuff is relevant. These things come into play. But I've been working with an investment club. It's a Patreon group that I started. And this Patreon group it's each and every one of us that's in the group, and we're 16, 17 strong now, is an investor with our own portfolio. And the club itself has a portfolio. All the subscription fees that come in from Patreon after Patreon takes its little piece, and after the overhead cost of the internet and the software I use for the club, after that little expense is taken out, the entire enchilada is then decided upon by the club which assets to invest in. And you know what? This little mechanism, this little process that I've gone through of accumulation, redistribution when necessary, and leveraging a certain percentage of the portfolio in collateralized loans with the right timing to buy more assets, right? Case in point, we started the club. I started it with just under $6,000 in the month of January. We are towards the end of April, and at no more than $550 a month, we built a $13,000 portfolio. So you can think of it as a one-time chunk went in, bought a small basket of quality assets. And every month, we're putting the Patreon subscription money into this fund. And during one of our meetings, we decide the allocation. One month, it might be 50% Cardano, 25% VET, 25% Bitcoin, or, 1 month, it might be something different. Every month it's been a little different. But the point is that we're buying what we believe are quality assets that we've researched and we talk about, and we're then leveraging them. What I mean by leveraging them is they're on a platform earning us a yield. And that yield is compounding on a weekly basis. This is cool. But it's also important to note, like I said earlier with the tax topic, yield is not free. So, yield isn't free. I will get 1099 on that account, and all the yield that it generated will show up as a dividend interest income, and I will have to be taxed on that if my income is at such a level where I need to pay taxes. So, somebody mentioned Flare, and I think this is a great topic that we should all be very aware of. Again, you could talk to 5 different CPAs and get 5 different answers here. It's still a little murky. But if you're an XRP holder and you were holding a nice bag of XRP on December 11th and you still held it for the December 12th snapshot, and you were holding it on a platform, Celcius, Nexo, Coinbase, Uphold, whatever, an American exchange, Kraken, who doesn't matter, whoever supported the Flare airdrop, if it's a platform and you're going to get, you're known, and that's where your Flare tokens are going to go. They're going to go to the platform that you held your XRP. Now, you folks that use ledgers and things of that nature, you guys probably might come out of this scot-free unless you start doing stuff on exchanges with your Flare. Because I have never seen a cold wallet issue a 1099. If you have, please leave a comment in the comment field. I've never seen it, never heard of it, and I'd be really shocked if it was something that could happen. So, looking at Flare, and I'm looking at this, I'm a holder. I had 130,000 XRP at the time of the snapshot. So I should receive, over the course of the life of the distribution of the Flare token, I should receive 130,000 of those little suckers. How's that going to be taxed? Right? And since they're doing multiple airdrops, am I going to be taxed differently at different times? Look at who, the Crypto and Coffee live stream TV is in trolling on a Friday night. All the cars must be in the shop, and he's on the scooter and decided, you know what, it's a little chilly outside. I'm going to go and see if I can muck with Jerry. No. So, like I said, I'm not really clear how that's going to work out. You folks, especially you large bag holders of XRP during the airdrop, you need to find out. You need to get with your CPA, and if your CPA doesn't have an answer, tell him he needs to get one. If he doesn't get you an answer, then one of probably the best things you can do, spend the $50, hit the link in the description of any of my videos, and get yourself a 14-day trial with TaxBit. And if you like them, then subscribe to them. Wonderful service. They're going to be helpful. I will guarantee you they are going to have answers. Right? TaxBit, a crypto tax outfit, is not going to tell you they don't know the answer. They will have it. And for those of you, again, who are holding serious bags of, XRP at the time of the snapshot, this is going to be an answer that you're going to need answered. Because I think once you understand the answer, you'll be able to chart your progress going forward. So again, let's get back to how I even got on this tangent. Was good old Nick Black and his you don't have a process until it's teachable and repeatable. A lot of us are being asked by friends and family all the time, especially, up until a week ago, right? Until the market took a big dump-a-rooney. We were being asked these crypto questions. Hey, you're into crypto. How do you do this? What is this? Is it real? What's happening? How do I get involved? What do you think I should do? I had a really interesting conversation the other day. So a longtime friend of mine, we're talking 30 years, good buddies. He did something really, really nice for me about 28 years ago. I was really having a really bad winter, and I really didn't have any money. And my son, who I was raising by myself, wasn't going to have a Christmas, really. And, I told him, hey, I'm kind of dealing with that, so I'm not really in this kind of joyous Christmas kind of place. And he said, okay, come on, man, take a drive with me. And I took a drive with him, and he went to an ATM, and he whipped out $500 from his ATM, and he came back into the car, and he said, here, I want your son to have a Christmas. I'll never forget that. It was a very impactful moment. Well, last week, fast forward 28 years later, last week, I'm on the phone with him, and I said, hey, you remember that time you took me to the ATM and made sure my son had a Christmas? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to do something for you now. I want you to get on the computer while I'm on the phone. I want you to open an account at Nexo. Super easy. Open it up, do your little KYC, submit your pictures, all the stuff you need to do, get your account set up. And I'm going to send you $500 worth of Bitcoin. And I want you to just let it sit there and marinate. Now, he's got a son who's 6 years old. I said, this isn't for your son to have a Christmas. This is for your son to have a full ride to college. I honestly believe if you let it sit there and marinate and earn interest and compound into itself, by the time your son hits 18 in 12 years, there's a very good possibility that your son's tuition or his room and board or both and books could be paid for just by this investment. He goes, really? You really honestly believe that? I said, of course I do. And then you know what he said? He said, well, what if I want to put $5,000 into it? I said, okay, this is what you do. Go sign up at Coinbase, buy yourself $5,000 of Bitcoin, and lump it into that 500 that you just started for your son, and watch what happens. Don't do anything. Best course of action, no action at all. Don't do anything. Just let this happen. Because at the end of the day, folks, what is this really, right? When you sift through all the noise, what is the signal? The signal is the trend. Look at the trend over the last X years since Bitcoin created. Look at the trend over the last 5 years in crypto with new projects that have come on board, Ethereum and XRP. Look at the trend over the last year with the emergence of a bunch of new networks coming online, your dots and your this and your that's. The trend is the signal. What more do you need than that? Sure, there's going to be corrections. Yes, there's going to be ups and downs. Yes, some tokens are going to fall flat on their face, while others create protocols or apps that are going to be adopted and used by 1 million or billion people. Right? It's all happening. Okay, you should buy the Fred another 500 next. Listen, I got nothing bad to say about XRP. I'll be honest, folks, I can't get beyond the staggering quantity that Ripple controls. And I know it's escrowed, and I know all this, and I know all that. But when I start looking at inflation rates of coins meaning, what does that mean, Jerry? The ability for more coins to enter the ecosystem in which I'm an investor in, all right? We'll call it circulating supply. The more coins that can come into circulating supply can dilute the value of the other coins that are in the supply, in that circulating supply. That's a very simple, basic 101 kind of thing. And as an XRP investor for many years, I completely locked that out. I didn't want to hear it. It went against my bias. I didn't want to know about it. I didn't want to think about it. I can't get by it now. As an investor, I just can't get by it. I love XRP. I still hold XRP, but I can't continue to invest in XRP. I just can't. I just don't see it. Until that changes, that's my stance. You guys all know my opinions, although maybe firm today, they're actually loosely held. With real solid information, I can let go of an opinion and grab onto a new one. I'm easy like that, you know? So, there it is there. What is my... Thank you. A process that's teachable and repeatable, right? Teachable and repeatable. So, what's your process? Is it teachable and repeatable? Are you teaching it? And is it repeating for other people? Because at the end of the day, the best marketing for any network is a happy participant of the network, reaching out and talking to and interacting with members of their circles that are not on the network. It's kind of Ponzi scheme-ish in a way, huh? That's what it kind of feels like. But it isn't. It's just the way networks work, right? And I think we're in for incredibly robust periods of expansion. Networks gaining more monetary value, market caps going up, the value of tokens going up, the incredible disbursement of protocols and new apps being built on them, doing all kinds of incredible things. If you follow this channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Cardano, and I'm looking forward to what they got going on in Africa. There's going to be a bunch of announcements in their little, let's say hello and celebrate Africa experience that's happening next week, where it appears we may get some really good news that an entire country is signing on to a digital asset platform. You know what I mean? This is funny. Well, I wish I knew how to work this stupid thing. You guys, your comments come up and I see them for a second and that tells me people are watching and I think that's totally cool. I love it. But they go away. And I don't know, I mean, I've never streamed live from a phone before. And I'm sorry I'm having to do this. I know, much of you are kind of dig the format of the show where I come in and I talk doo-doo for a second and I'll bring in a guest and we'll talk about a topic. And then we get a bit of Avenue comes in at the end of the show with questions. And then Brady comes in and adds his little, his thoughts for the night and things, his takeaways. That's not going to be able to happen tonight. You're stuck with the old bald fat guy running solo and not getting to really interact with you guys as much as I would really like to. That's a great question. Has ADA been cleared by the SEC? No, and negatory. No, and negatory. Here's one of the cool things about a lot of these tokens, folks. They're on sale right now. Just saying. They're on sale. You know what I mean? They're on friggin' sale. And despite what your favorite token is and the tokens you like and the tokens you don't like, at the end of the day, folks, we're watching a paradigm shift. You know what I mean? We're watching literally Star Trek unfold in front of our eyes. Remember when you were a kid and you watched futuristic sci-fi things and it was like, oh, that would be so cool if that was ever possible someday. Today's that day. Stuff is happening. You know what I mean? I don't think we're very far off from no longer visiting websites. I think in the very, very, very soon future, you will actually log into actual VR type sites, sites that are VR related. So for instance, instead of going to Amazon and shopping their little product, here's product, you'll throw on a set of goggles and you'll walk in, you'll log into a site and boom, you're in the store virtually. And you're looking at all the products at scale relative to you. They'll be so incredibly perfect, and you'll have your things scanned so that when you put that shoe on in the virtual world, you'll know, it'll tell you where it would be tight and where it wouldn't have been tight, where it would be loose and where it wouldn't be. You'll be able to actually see how long the laces are, really. It's really going to be something incredible. And I think it's going to bring opportunity like we've never seen before. I hear and watch the news all the time, and I'm hearing all this stuff about, you got the demographic rollover, right? The baby boomers, many of which have had to stay in the labor force participation world because they don't have enough money to retire. You got millennials that don't want to do what the boomers did. Well, they're going to create all these new worlds. It's going to be just friggin' marvelous. And guess what? Unlike the internet, that none of us were able to make $1 off the protocols, in this world, we're all able to participate in these protocols with our assets. Pretty unique and interesting times. I'm excited. I hope that you're all excited. And again, just in recap, for those that might have missed my opening rant, don't go to sleep and think you're safe from the IRS. A good strategy is a strategy that acknowledges that every time you sold for a gain, it will be recorded and recognized. So make sure you have your money allocated properly. I've started doing something where I kind of already know where I'm at. I've done all that math. So I know that everything I've done up until now, I'm under the amount of earnings to have an income that would make any of the stuff I've done taxable. Like all my yield and interest that I'm earning and stuff like that, I'm not going to exceed $38,200 this year. I know that. So I don't have to necessarily worry about it. But if I start doing stuff and getting more, then I will. Even though I'm not, trading the crypto or selling the crypto. Now I know that I'm going to get at least the existing tax code 20% long-term capital gains on the things that I scalped. The things that I scalped, I know what I scalped. I'm going to owe 20% on what I scalped, and I am completely prepared to pay that out. I'm not going to like it, just as I don't think any of you are going to like it, but I'm going to do it because I do not want the IRS up my bunghole. And none of you do either, because although they may not be able to touch your crypto, they sure in the hell can lien your bank accounts. They sure in the hell, if you're a property owner, can lien your property. Make no mistake about it. And at the end of the day, crypto ain't shit if you don't have an on-ramp or on-ramp. On-ramp or off-ramp. You think you can get away from the IRS by using your fold card or your uphold card? Guess what? They'll snatch that, cancel that son of a bitch so fast. I just used bad language. I apologize. So anyway, again, be careful. Get knowledgeable. Understand the liabilities that you're putting yourselves in. So, I feel if I continue, I'm just going to just say the same thing over and over and over again, because that's kind of the shit that's in my head tonight. If you have a question or a statement that you'd like me to dive into, please type it in again because I can't figure out how to go back and look at any of the stuff that's scrolled through the screen already. And like always, folks, thank you so much for participating in my journey, tuning into these live streams and just participating. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you are not a subscriber yet, please hit the subscription button. You know what I mean? It helps other people find it if more people are subscribed to it. And if you hit the like button, that's also a big help. And leaving comments, believe it or not, leaving comments add something to the YouTube algorithm as it is dispersed with other people's searches that may have no idea who Jerry Hall is. Like many of the people who search YouTube don't know who Jerry Hall is because I'm just a tiny little guy with a tiny little channel. But maybe we could reach some more people. And maybe some of the things that we do can have a positive impact on these people. Because at the end of the day, what is all of our journeys, right? To be a better investor tomorrow than we are today. Right on, Dakota's at work. I saw so many people that I recognized. I was only able to acknowledge a few people when I saw it come up. But I saw Bill Gould, I saw Patsy, I saw Lori, I saw DC Precise, I saw Ray. Hey, Ray. I saw Jungle Link, and I saw Nick Black trolling on a Friday night. We should have taken. Wait a second. Something just popped on my screen. It says $4.99. I'm assuming that's a super chat or a super sticker or something cool. Dakota, how cool is that? Thank you, Dakota. I really appreciate it. This channel has never been, I've never requested those kind of things. Believe me, though, they are nice and they are wonderful. I signed up FI. I signed up FI. Ray, you signed up FI. I don't know what FI is, but if you signed it up, I'm sure it's cool. Keep him on. Keep him on. Keep who on, Patsy? Patsy. Who's the who in which you text? I know there's also an 8-second delay. Oh, you signed up for TaxBit. Right on, Ray. Let me know how that works. I will tell you, one of the buddies, now I know a lot of you guys remember him because I've had him on the live stream. And yeah, Dakota, my computer took a poo-poo. So I'm just streaming. I went into my YouTube app and hit go live, and this is what we got. I have a friend, you guys might know Bill Bean. Bill Bean's a baby boomer buddy who I have had on my interview show, right, as the pre-recorded interview thing, and I've also had him on the live stream. Bill and I were in conversations the other day. Bill's logged 10,000 transactions. And he told me, he said TaxBit saved his ass because he had no way of really, from a memory standpoint, putting that kind of activity and getting it right. And it was through TaxBit and his subscription that he was able to get his tax situation right for the calendar year of 2020. Now, keep in mind, we don't have that long before that date of May 15th, right? Thank goodness they extended it, but the fact that they extended it doesn't mean you have forever. It's May 15th is the deadline. Don't get caught with your pants down. So if you need help in the description of any of my videos, or most of them, you will find a TaxBit link. You can go get your 14-day free trial and check it out. And if you like it, bada boom, pay the $50 or whatever it is. They have several tiers. I think a $25 tier, a $50 tier, and a $150 tier or something like that. And they're all relative to, your needs. So you'll pick the one that's obviously right for you guys. So I acknowledge the super chat. Thank you, Dakota, very much. Thank you for everybody that I could remember seeing their name. And for those that I didn't catch, again, I apologize. I'm sorry. I haven't seen any questions pop up, but that doesn't mean Doesn't mean they didn't. I just didn't catch it. Okay, here we go. Can Canadians use TaxBit? Anyone know? Okay, right now, Patty, it's U.S., but they are going to roll out. I would hit the link for the 14-day trial and see if they've got Canada on board yet, because I know they were working on the EU. I know they were working on Canada. Is it complete yet, and are they ready to do Canada? I don't know, but it didn't hurt to hit the link. They got great customer service. That's the one thing TaxBit in all of crypto, they crush everybody. Well, iTrustCapital's got really good customer service. So those two entities have good customer service. Dakota, you've been busy both at work and at home, huh? Possibly having to do the upgrade. Okay, I signed up for TaxBit, but the API integration with Bitrue kept crashing. Bitrue crashing? Really? Shocker. Not. You know, hey, I'll tell you, Casino Coin Bro, the thing on the flare drop, dude, I'm not sure the outcome of the actual flare networks, right? How the FLR will work. Will it be a machine to create yield? Will it have value? Will it increase in value? I don't know any of those answers. I'm excited to see. Oh, tax implications. Okay. Tax implications, dude. Again, 5 different CPAs, 5 different answers. TaxBit. 5 CPAs, 5 CPAs, 5 different answers. TaxBit. Tax friggin' bit. 14-day free trial. Hey, I had 150,000 XRP on December 11th. They took the snapshot December 12th. So it appears that over the course of the next X months, right, this year and next year, I'm going to be doled out these tokens. What's my tax liability? Now here, it's going to be really weird because you're going to have the initial airdrop with the initial group of tokens that doesn't have a market value until it kicks in, right? So at the time of your airdrop, there is no market value. It's 0 if we all get them at the same time, right? So at the time we get them, 0 value, 0 tax implication. However, I bet it doesn't stay at 0. It'll get off of 0. Where it goes, I don't know, but it'll get off 0. And then guess what? Tax implication. What's that tax implication going to be? It's not. Is it going to be subsequent through every disbursement, or is every disbursement, because then there will be a market, right? Every disbursement after the first disbursement, there will be a market and there will be a value, right? So at the time of the second airdrop, let's say it's at 32 cents. That's my tax liability, 32 cents per unit times X units. I think it's going to be a friggin' nightmare. And I've seen on Twitter the crypto accountant jousting with Hugo Filion, the CEO of that project, and they're not in agreement. One is a Twitter guy who's an actual CPA, and the other is a CEO of a crypto company. And they're not on the same page. Interesting. I don't know how this is going to work out. And then you've got, I mean, who knows? I don't know what the tax code's like in Europe, Asia, Latin America as it pertains to these things. I'm sure Canada is different than the United States. Probably not that different, but different. So, again, folks, I don't have all the answers, but what I will tell you is don't be blind to them. Go find them, right? Investigate. It's your outcome that's at stake here. And hopefully you have the most vested interest. Capital gains dates start at the time of the snapshot. No, Bill. No. That will occur disbursement. Yeah, Ray, but here's the thing. The argument is that you can't compare apples to oranges. The Bitrue IOU representation is not, it's not the Flare token. You know what I mean? It's like saying, okay, I'm going to build a go-kart, right? One go-kart, and you can all look at it, but none of you own it, but I'm going to give you a picture of it. And you guys can trade the picture and sell the pictures back and forth to each other. Is that the real go-kart? No, it's pictures of the go-kart going. So it's not Bitrue's IOU trading and the other two exchanges in the world that are doing that same type of thing. The IOU trading is not relevant. It's a moot point. What is not moot and what is relevant is that you find out. Now, here's the great thing. It hasn't happened yet. So we got plenty of time. In the tax year that we will be liable for tax payment isn't until 2022. Most likely April 15th, 2022. So we got the rest this year and some part of 2022 to kind of get it figured out and understand it. But it's good, especially with any kind of quantity, to understand it, because you don't want to show up April 15th ready to submit your stuff and find out that you're ass backwards, that you've done it incorrectly, and you get a letter. Because believe me, any platform is going to 1099 you. If they want to do business in the United States, they are going to follow the rules. And if you're dealing with assets on their exchange, you're going to get a 1099. The only way you can avoid that is if you did zero KYC. You never submitted any identification, social security number, address, telephone number. All you ever submitted was an email address that you created and used some kind of cool VPN and had your IP ghosted over 25 different countries. Other than that, if you're on a platform, be prepared to get 1099. And it will happen. It'll be really interesting too to see how they report. In a time where we can't get 5 friggin' CPAs to agree on the same answer for the same thing, are all the exchanges going to report the same thing in the same way? I don't know. A lot of us may chalk some of the weirdness that's about to come at us next year. We'll just have to chalk it up to growing pains. I don't know. Anyway, I think I've taken a ton of your time tonight, folks. Again, for all you folks that continue to show up Friday in and Friday out, it's very much appreciated. I'm hoping that I'll have my computer back soon. Having it die on me tonight was a real drag-a-rooney. And of course, I went through the whole, I immediately text Brady, my computer's poo-poo and I can't do nothing. And he's like, well, you're going to try to do something? And I was like, oh, well, man, I'm old. I don't want to learn new things. And da-da-da-da-da. And it was kind of like, I don't know. Brady, I don't even know if he understands this or not. Brady kind of encouraged me to give this a shot. Sure, you could fall on your face. It'd be stupid. You spend an hour talking to yourself on the phone. Oh, well. Yeah. So, okay, wait. Among Jerry, all the tax BS is boner killer. Okay. Sure. Taxes aren't sexy. They're not. You know what's sexy? I'll tell you what's sexy. Sexy is becoming extremely wealthy as a crypto investor and never getting audited and never having an IRS agent lien your bank account or lien your house or lien anything else that the IRS has access to lien if they think you have screwed them. That's sexy. That means you get to live your life wealthy, not just have a poop ton of crypto sitting on a ledger, right? What good does that do you? You can't turn it into money and spend it. It's nothing. So anyway, that's my spiel. You guys are the greatest. Hope to come at you live in studio with the whole crew. Producer Brady, man in the chat thingies and doing all the crazy stuff Brady does behind the scenes, and having a guest in the studio, and even having one of you incredible community members come in. Is there one? I'll just throw this out there to any of you guys. Is there one among you that would like to come in and do a thing like Bitta has done so many times on the show? Come in for the last 10 minutes, ask a couple questions, give your insight, your feedback, your perspective. I'd love to have that. It'd be so friggin' cool. We're looking forward to that. And we're going to bring it to you next Friday night, right here on this channel at the normal time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And if we get really lucky, Nick Black won't have a car to drive, and he'll come in and troll. Because after all, you haven't made it in YouTube until Nick Black is trolling your YouTube channel. All right, folks. Until next time, thank you. And Pura Vida. I don't know how do you stop it? There's no stop button. Brady, help me. I'm lost. There's an X. I'm going to try the X. Let's see if this works. Oh, it does work. Are you sure you want to end streaming? Yes, I am.